Hello, I'm James T. Prout, author of The Last Days Timeline. Alright, this is the second presentation in a series of presentations prepared for the Bookworm and Evidence Conference the first week of April, just after Easter 2021. Now, in this particular presentation, this is again building on the last presentation that was recorded recently, as well as the presentations from September 2020 and April 2020. Both of those need to be watched before you watch this one, because this one I'm going to breeze through topics that if you don't know the topic matter, it's going to be very hard to catch up. Okay, so this is not for new people. This is for advanced people who have already went through the other presentations, which should be on the Bookworm and Evidence Conference website. If you can't find them there, they're at lastdaystimeline.com, and just go to the homepage. They're in order from oldest to newest at the top, oldest at the bottom. Okay? All right. So, let's hit it. All right, this is the one everybody's been waiting for. This is about Joe Biden. Okay? The name of the presentation today is Ezra's Eagles Update. Where does Joe Biden come in the sequence? Oh yeah. All right, let's dig into this topic real deep. Okay? This is part of the Last Days Timeline project. All project materials have or are in the process of being updated to match this presentation right now, including Joe Biden. What is the project? It is a project to know the big picture. What happens? When does it happen? And where in the world does that thing happen? Okay? Now let's hold all questions, but since you're on video, you're good. All right, I want you to think critically about some of these materials as we're talking about this, okay? Because you're going to need to put on your thinking cap and think about what happened over the last 6 months, okay? Notice some key features of this eagle. I'm going to discuss it briefly just to review a little here, but most of the stuff about Ezra's eagle is going to be in the other presentations. They're from the update times of, I believe, April 2020 had a giant update that was good. And then again on September. So this is 2021, so we're New Year. Notice key features of this eagle. Must see the earlier two presentations of Ezra Eagle. You must see them before you get this. But, all right, this eagle has 3 heads. Notice that the middle one is bigger than the other 2 heads. Has 2 wings. They have different numbers of feathers on both sides and different lengths. They're very lopsided eagle. Do you see this? Also has big, powerful talons for, clomping things and, grabbing it. Right, it can hang on to some good stuff. All right, so that's what you're looking at as the eagle. It's a very lopsided eagle. It has 3 heads. Middle one's the biggest. Okay. These feathers are about the U.S. president. You know that. I hope you know that. If you don't know that, please watch other presentations. Okay. The U.S. presidents from Herbert Hoover all the way through Barack Obama reside on the left wing, and the right wing just started with Donald Trump. Okay, there's the left wing, as you can see. Okay, you've seen this before. You know this picture, I hope. Okay. All right, there was a middle. The part about that red line is, in the prophecy it talks about a middle line, a middle time approaching, that there will be 2 short feathers, a middle time approaching. Who were those short feathers? We do need to cover this. It's important. They were Kennedy, John F. Kennedy, and Richard Nixon. Kennedy went down to assassination. You know that. And Nixon went down to resignation. Kennedy was in his first term. Nixon was in his second term. So short feather does not have to do with terms so much. It has to do as a definition as they are taken out, the feather is taken out before the time that the people elected them to do it. Okay? This isn't about 2 terms, 1 term, none of that. It's just about simply how long did the people elect them to do it, and were they taken out unnaturally. That's the definition of a short feather. And that still holds even today. So, if you want to look at the material about these presidents, look at the President Makers. You'll see, by Don Fotheringham, you'll see all the historical evidence of Ezra's eagle sitting on top of America right here in this book. And it's not even my book. It's someone else's book. I just love it because it shows exactly what happened to put him here. Okay? And how the influence of the presidents made all the difference. The eagle's right wing is just starting. Donald Trump is short feather number 1 on the eagle's right wing. Right? We defined him that all the way back in late 2016, early 2017, even before he came into office. Okay, he defined him that. Technically, if you would have looked at this prophecy 20 years ago, and let's say Ronald Reagan's day or Bill Clinton's day or anybody's day, and if you had knowledge that this Ezra's eagle was on America, you could have predicted the presidential sequence. Yes. But this is important to note. Mike Pence is struck off. Okay? He's not on Ezra's eagle anymore. Now, I'm not going to talk about Mike Pence because there is a lot of emotion about Mike Pence in the last few months. Okay? So I'm not going to discuss him. But obviously, since Joe Biden is sitting number 2, not Mike Pence is not there. Okay? And we'll discuss why that is and how it happened, and we'll get there in a second, in the next couple slides. Okay. So Joe Biden's placement is short feather number 2 on the right wing. How do we know that? He followed Donald Trump. Donald Trump had a election problem and went down as a short feather. And then Joe Biden was the next sworn-in president of the United States. Now, I happen to know there's many people in this audience that don't even believe that last statement. Okay, I know who you are. I hear you all the time. I get it. But let's discuss the realities of the situation, and then you're going to see even more stuff that you didn't even know was out there in the next presentation on that very topic. Okay, so stay tuned. Okay, all right, moving on. We got thrown a curveball in the last 6 months, okay, 5 months. The curveball was a new method was created or was used to create a short feather. That's the problem. Let's look at it for a second. Let's focus on facts, not emotions, not what we wanted to happen, not what we didn't want to happen, not who we voted for. That doesn't matter. That's irrelevant, as even the next presentation will show, okay? What does matter are facts, okay? Provable facts. Let's look at them right here, okay? Focus on them. The short feather was not created by assassination nor resignation like our previous 2 examples of Nixon and Kennedy, or Kennedy and Nixon, okay? We didn't have that. It was something new, okay? Which means that we could not have predicted it happening either, right? You see, if you're holding true to Ezra's eagle and you're thinking about how this all works out, we could not have said November through January that Trump was going to lose. You couldn't have said it because Ezra's eagle didn't say it. But here's how it happened. I'll show you. Also, the normal results of the former vice president becoming president, as happened in JFK and Nixon, is also not as expected because we have a new method. Okay? The short feather number 1 on the right wing went down to election blank. I'm going to say blank all the time, but I want you to read that slide. Starts with an F, ends with a D. We can't say that on social media, but that's what happened. Okay? And we're going to go into it. We're going to show you. What really happened in November 2020 election? Election blank. See it? Okay. By Saturday before Thanksgiving, we already had all this data listed in the last day's timeline newsletter. Okay? The newsletter was released a Saturday before Thanksgiving, right? Thanksgiving was on this year, I think, was the 20. Well, it's 20. It's the last Thursday. You know, it's normal Thanksgiving Day, right? The day that America gives thanks to God for blessings that we have. The day that America does that as a celebratory event, Thanksgiving Day. Okay. Banana Republic, here we come. We covered in that newsletter first generation election blank. First generation. Notice we have first, second, and third on this slide. First generation took place before 2002. Okay. Mostly had paper ballot insertions and counting problems and, you know, all the sorts of, you know, the dead voting and, you know, that stuff, right? Okay, that's first generation low grade stuff. Easy to catch, easy to find out, okay? But that happened here in this particular election too. Why did it happen? We'll see. Then second generation election blank happens after 2002. Okay, why is that? This is software being inserted into machines. When the machines came online to count everything and do that stuff, the software was inserted into the machines to do certain things. Okay, and we covered what the names of that software is and the hacks that are there, and the local, the local plug it in, local, right, machines. Okay, now today we're on third generation election blank. This took place after 2012 to current day, and this is the algorithms. Okay, and if you're a member of our group, our email group, please sign up. If you haven't ever heard of me, or the first time you heard of me or something, sign up to the Last Days Timeline email group. It's a big green button in the top right of the website. If you sign up, then you get to be in the group and you get to hear what's going on all the time. We covered everything. We even covered this stuff even this last week. Okay, there was new information coming out on this topic. Okay, now let's look at what these pictures are for a second. The first one, every vote doesn't count. Well, it's comedy. Okay, you know what that is. Now let's look at these two pictures here. Okay, so on the left side, you see John McCain in Arizona's vote in the 2008 presidential election. That's a presidential election. Okay, it looks like a normal parabola-based curve. Notice that what this is, by the way, what this is graphing is in places where there are low numbers versus high numbers of straight ticket ballot voting, you would expect there to be also high numbers or low numbers of independent individual fill-in-the-blank ballot voting. Got that? So if you have a bunch of straight tickets in the same county or in the same district, voting district in the counties, right? They leave little teeny pockets. Then you would also expect more fill-ins, right? And that's what you end up getting here. You get small numbers of straight tickets, give you small numbers, and then you get the high numbers, give you high numbers, okay? That's normal parabola curve. What happened in the 2020 election? This is Oakland County, Michigan, where there was a algorithm applied. The algorithm is a vote switching algorithm. Okay? It doesn't look like a parabola. It looks like a straight line coming off and then a degraded line that goes straight down to the right, which means that where there was districts in Oakland County, Michigan, where there are more straight ticket Republicans voting, there was less regular independent, fill in the blank voting, which means a whole bunch of people vote a straight ticket and then they would vote for Trump, and then they would switch it for Biden. The machine would switch. Okay, that's what that sort of data looks like in an image. This images came out, and we would put these in the mid-November time period, before even the Pennsylvania hearings came out, the day before Thanksgiving, before the Arizona hearings came out, the day after, Monday after Thanksgiving. This is before all of it. This data was here. Okay. All right. What was stated in the Last Days Timeline, Volume 1? Page 58 and 59. I want you to just know what was stated about these short feathers and about Trump, okay? Page 50 and 59 section, learning points mixed with author's analysis. Quote, after speaking about how JFK was assassinated and Nixon resigned to become short feathers, I stated this. Quote here, all right. The second short feather from the Ezra Eagle right side would then come to power through the authorized line of succession. But that didn't happen, did it? Like our previous two examples. Only to be cut down even quicker. The next eliminated or short feather president would be current Vice President Mike Pence. Didn't happen. New way of making him a short feather. Note, from the observation of the last two short feathers, Kennedy and Nixon, that's where this data is coming from, it is possible that a short feather could get all the way to the second term of office before being taken out. So we're looking at a maximum of a 7-year time frame from December 2016 to a possible 2023. Did we hit the mark on that? Yes, it took place up to 4 years. For Donald Trump to become a short feather, to be a short feather. However, remember, shortly it appeared no more. I have no deeper information on the subject until it happens. End quote. Okay, so that's what was in the book. I did not call for, Mike Pence to absolutely be the next short feather, especially when there's a different type of short feather creation method being put at us. Okay, so that's the curveball. You got to know the curveball. Okay, all right. Did Donald Trump fulfill the Ezra's Eagle prophecy perfectly? Ooh, did he fulfill the Ezra's Eagle prophecy perfectly? All right. This feather would be short. Was he short? Meaning, he would not serve as long as the people hired him to do. He would be cut short unnaturally. Check. This feather would be very different than the rest of the feathers on the completed left wing. Was he different? Yeah. Check. This feather would take rule unto himself. In other words, do things his own way and not listen to the three eagle heads. He would have an adversarial relationship with them. Check again. This feather would be the longest of the next three feathers. We won't know this one until the second short feather goes down, but at this point, it is highly likely. So, I mean, we already see issues happening even right now, and you know what those are. Okay. What the Ezra's Eagle prophecy says about Joe Biden. Now let's look at that, because he's sitting in short feather spot number 2. Quote, and I beheld, and lo, the feathers that were under the wing thought to set themselves up to have the rule. And I beheld, and lo, there was one set up, but shortly it appeared no more. That's Trump. And the second was sooner away than the first. And I beheld, and lo, the two that remain, that's feathers 3 and 4 there, thought also in themselves to reign. Just like feather number 1. Short feather number 1. And when they so thought, behold, there wakened one of the heads their arrest, namely it that was in the midst or the middle, for that was greater than the other two heads. Uh-oh. End quote. All right, let's analyze this a bit here. Okay, author's analysis. Verse 27, the second short feather was sooner away than Donald Trump. Donald Trump had 4 years and went down by election blank. Thus, Joe Biden will have less than 4 years. Set your clock. Okay? Important. This is really important to know. This apocryphal scripture did not say that short feather number 2 would think in themselves to reign, nor set up themselves to have the rule, specifically in the text. Thus, because of the absence of those phrases around short feather number 2, we cannot rely 100% on the right wing definition that we have been holding on for a few years now. Thus, if the majority of the feathers on the right wing do something, that may not mean that 100% of the short feathers on the right wing do something. Okay. The two that remain, the short feather number 3 and number 4, now are coming into view. They're getting closer to us now. Both specifically are like Donald Trump. They're Trumpian. The text is exact. So the question is created. How is America going to swing back toward a Donald Trump-like leader while creating a short feather in number 2 position in less than 4 years? That's a really good question. And we're dealing with that question. It's coming. You're going to see it in the next, you're going to see it actually in the next presentation. You're going to know. Okay. The first eagle head wakes up. Note that the first eagle head wakes up on feather number 3, not on feather number 4. Okay. Number 3. The wake up happens first, then the eating of feathers 3 and 4. Okay. That's important to know. The wake up happens first, then the eating of feather 3 and 4. Very important to know, because we're coming in that time period right there where the wake up happens before feather number 3 thinks in themselves to reign again. So you're going to see it. It's going to be there. And you're going to see it in presentation number 3 coming up. This is the big picture. It's only 2. What we just covered is in Ezra's Eagle. The whole thing of Ezra's Eagle is only 2 chapters of the Last Days Timeline Volume 1. And the big picture is got a whole lot more data to it. As you can see here, it's a lot. This is covered in Last Days Timeline number 1. And number 2 is the prophecy of the wild and tame olive trees. This is important. You can get these as a conference bundle right here on lastdaystimeline.com is where you go for the bundle. And there's discounts there too. And you get the Last Days Timeline newsletter if you'd like to sign up for that. This is really important. This comes out every month, once a month, at the end of the month typically. And it's emailed to you or mailed to you. And And this goes over all the relevant topics that's happening today that's related to prophecy, including, you just saw in this presentation, we had this stuff nailed down in even mid-November, just 2 weeks after the election. This stuff was known before it all came out in those hearings. All right, The President Makers. This is the next book to read after you read Last Days Timeline Volume 1. Okay, this book goes into, it's written by Don Fotheringham. I didn't write the book, it's Don's book. And he went ahead and wrote a historical narrative of how the presidents have been captured by the three eagle heads. Although he didn't use three eagle heads, he used historical examples. He's not talking spiritually, he's talking just historically. Okay, so when you put these two books together and line them up, you have an amazing data set to realize what happened in this world with these presidents. Okay, and the Ruin and Restoration series. This is the Last Days Timeline fiction series. This is for people who love fiction. They just absolutely love it, and they want to, they like adventure, they like comedy, they like romance, they like fun. This is the book where all the fun goes. Okay, in the non-fiction books, the ones I usually write, those type of books, they have very concise, factual information in them. This book, this book series is fiction. Therefore, we get to put all the stuff that we don't have all the clues on, like everything hammered down. We can put it in here because it is fiction, but it's based upon the Last Days Timeline, Volume 1, which is based upon Scripture. There we have it. All right, so I have a special deal for you coming up right away, and the next piece of this presentation, and enjoy. Thank you. This Donald J. Trump presentation is just a small piece of the overall history or future history in the book, The Last Days Timeline. It matches Isaiah to John to Daniel to Ezekiel through Ezra, Ezekiel, all the way through from this week all the way through to the end of when Christ comes at the beginning of the millennium. You can go to lastdaystimeline.com and download all the material you saw in the presentation, including the big timeline map. Also, you have access to the Apocrypha itself with links directly to it. You also have access to the book itself and free chapters in the book. If you're interested in purchasing the book directly, there's a discount code right now called 5Presentation. It's number 5 presentation. You can put that right in the cart and it'll work for $5 off the copy of the book. There's 3 editions of the book. The printed edition, which is mail free, free shipping. There's the ebook and there's the audiobook. And the 5 presentation will work for all of those. And you can buy them today at lastdaystimeline.com.